Everyone is sick of the Dakota Access Pipeline protesters, and let me be the first to say it is about time. There's an expensive cleanup operation underway in North Dakota because just like the environmental and social activists that squatted in Occupy encampments all across North America in 2012, these Dakota Access Pipeline protesters are leaving behind them filthy messes. Garbage, litter, makeshift tents, feces, and even abandoned and burned out cars at their protest sites. These self-proclaimed waterkeeper organizations, claiming to be there to protect Indigenous water supplies from pipelines, are leaving behind such a disgusting mess that the North Dakota state government has had to hire private contractors to come in and clear the land just to protect the Indigenous water supply from contaminated runoff before the spring thaw. It is disgusting. The North Dakota state government has spent $22 million in state funds to police and manage the safety of the DAPL protests, and they've had it. The state government is going to make sure these paid AstroTurf, largely out-of-state, trucked-in protesters are paying their North Dakota state tax. Millions of dollars have been funneled into the 6-month-long protest via crowdfunding websites, and that more than 30 environmental organizations, including the Sierra Club, Indigenous Environmental Network, Food and Water Watch, 350.org, and of course Greenpeace, are suspected of paying activists on the ground. And the state wants to see those tax returns rolling in, and why not? Why should the innocent and frequently inconvenienced locals be on the hook for any of this? The state is sick of these people, but you know who else is sick of these people? The local Indigenous band. The Standing Rock Band took to their Facebook page to ask these protesters to grab their junk and leave. 6 local bands in all have voted to ask the protesters to leave, and they've released statements on their Facebook pages asking protesters to clear the encampments before, I don't know, one of these people freezes to death, and so that the bands can work to reclaim the land after all the damage the protesters have done, squatting, burning pipeline construction equipment, and of course throwing Molotov cocktails at cops. But the protesters, well, they haven't gotten the hint. Now they've moved on to private land, squatting on land owned by private people that they just won't leave either. But it's good to see normal people growing tired of this stuff. It's rich white liberals doing everything they say they're opposed to. And finally, regular people are starting to see right through it. The protesters claim to care about water and nature, but they're threatening the water supply and leaving garbage everywhere. These protesters claim to respect Indigenous rights, but they won't go home when the local bands ask them to. The protesters claim to be anti-poverty activists, but they campaign actively against oil and gas jobs for people who live on these reserves. And using Indigenous people to further your left-wing cause, you want to talk about colonialism? That's colonialism. For the Rebel.media, I'm Sheila Gunn-Reid. At The Rebel, we give you the other side, the side of the story the mainstream media doesn't want you to know. To never miss a story, click the link below and subscribe today.